I believe it's sort of change or die. It's quick or dead, in a business like ours and in many businesses. And so sitting around and waiting for changes to happen, not a good idea. So, first of all, you want to be really attuned to what's going on and understand all the change factors and how the environment's evolving and what you need to do to not only stay relevant, but increase your relevance to the customers that you're serving. And that may involve some pretty radical changes, right, to your business. And speed is really important. Business cycles are only getting faster as the role of technology plays a bigger impact on everything. And so, you've got to kind of imagine what it's going to look like in 3 or 5 years when you're successful, and you better go make it happen now. If you're fearful and you don't like change, don't go work in the tech sector, right? Because you won't be happy. I mean, we used to do this thing where we would, people would come in and they'd, apply to work, and we'd say, hey, how do you like ambiguity? How do you like change? If they don't like it, well, don't even apply, right? You're not going to be happy in a company like this. And look, I think the reality is that every industry is becoming a tech industry, and the rate of change is increasing. And you just have to accept it. And fear, embracing risk, you have to get comfortable with all of that because that's the world we live in. When I look out and see everything in the world becoming intelligent, and by that I mean, small microcontrollers and microprocessors embedded in every physical thing in the world, and all of those things becoming connected with 5G and enormous amounts of data, and then the AI applied to the data, the opportunity to sort of reimagine every part of the economy and society, and the cost of making these things connected, intelligent, coming way down, that is just going to provide a Cambrian explosion of opportunity as people reimagine all sectors of the economy and society. So super excited about that. The last 30 or 40 years have been amazing in technology, but I think it's just a pre-game show to what is about to come. In our business, we try to understand what are the unsolved problems that customers have and how can we go address those? How do we inspire and engage our team members to be excited about the mission of what we're doing? How do we get organized to make sure we execute and deliver and create value for our customers, which ultimately creates value for the company? And I think it's really important to have a purpose and idea that you're pursuing that people believe in, that is beyond just okay, we're going to make these numbers happen or something, right? And when you put all that together and you're in a part of the industry or society that is meaningfully contributing, people are energized by it. They have a reason to get up out of bed every morning and go make stuff happen. Don't be afraid. Be willing to take risk. Imagine what the future could be like, and think about the opportunities differently, than others. And we've taken some pretty big risks, people would say. As I thought about those moments, they didn't seem like enormous risks to me, and been generally proven to be correct about that. But everybody has a different risk appetite. Go back to the origins of the company and how we evolved, at various stages into serving larger customers, expanding around the world, providing services to our customers, expanding into the data center and cloud business, into software, going private, and buying EMC and VMware, and going public again. And, I think those are all pivotal moments, and it's been a lot of fun.
So from day one Bumble all the way to now, our mission statement has not changed all that much. We've always been in the business and in the mission of helping drive healthy and equitable relationships. And we originally started by putting women in control of the conversation and in control of sending that first message in an effort to recalibrate these power dynamics in relationships. And we've always been in the quest to really help engineer better and kinder behavior on the internet at large. Your brand really forms around your mission. And I think that if you are really true to your mission and you stay very rooted to achieving that mission, your brand and your values and your culture and everything else really start to form around that. So of course, we've had a lot of ups and downs along the way, which any entrepreneur will have, and you can never expect for the journey to be perfect or linear or easy. But if you really just try to say, what is my Northern Star? Where do I really put that pin in the map? And work backwards from that every single day, no matter how big or small the task is, your brand will really start to form around it. The early Bumble customer was really women that we could identify with. It was looking at women that were going through similar struggles, right? I had experienced a lot of harassment on the internet, and I had also experienced what I felt were inequitable exchanges in relationships. And so I was really on this quest to recalibrate the way I felt. Anyone that is starting a business is generally trying to solve some type of problem that they've lived through. And when you're going through a problem, there's a very big chance that others are going through that same challenge. And so that was really how we started out, by identifying the early audience. And we're really so motivated and so inspired by the opportunity to take this to all new demographics and new audiences on a global level. You have to be willing to be receptive to feedback. And usually the customer will give you the best feedback because they are not worried about hurting your feelings. And they are the ones that are actually troubleshooting in a very genuine way. And so early on throughout Bumble, and still to this day, our customer drives the majority of the changes and innovations that we make. Very early on Bumble, women had to make the first move in 24 hours. However, for heterosexual matches, the man could respond whenever. There was no time set. And this was a misstep on our part. But it was the customer base that told us and said, hey, this doesn't feel fair. This doesn't feel equitable. Please change this. And so we did immediately. And so that's just one very small example of how you have to be receptive to feedback and you have to listen. And the customer will be your greatest guiding light. They actually were the ones that set the stage for Bumble BFF early on. And we're really excited to see what they come up with next. As a founder and as a CEO, it is on you as an entrepreneur to be able to decipher what matters most. And so we've always really tried to make informed decisions for the mission, even if it meant sacrificing a huge growth opportunity or a short-term win, really saying, how do we stay the course for the long term? How do we make the best decision for the customer in the long term that will not impede on our mission and values in any way? Truly, people want to invest in authenticity and in a genuine mission. And so just always stay rooted to that and never shift gears for what you might think someone wants to hear. Just stay very true to your brand and to your mission at all times. The prioritization of yourself or different components of your life when you're starting a business can feel almost impossible. And I am certainly not the poster child for the perfect work-life balance over the years, but what I've realized is your business is only as healthy and happy and successful as your team. And you as a founder, you as an entrepreneur, you are part of that team. And so it's important to stay strong for everybody else as well, but for yourself. So we've really put a huge emphasis on this year, going through these very unprecedented, challenging times with the pandemic and working from home, now it is really not just a nice to have, but it is actually foundational to our business to make sure our team is prioritizing work-life balance. And we've rolled out a whole new suite of benefits, and we are going to continuously improve in this category. And my advice to founders is you don't have to wait until you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years into a business. You don't have to burn the candle at both ends. It's not the most productive long-term strategy. And so even if you're starting a company right now, make this a priority today, not years from now.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Jeff Rader, the co-founder and co-CEO of Harry's. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Steve, thanks for having me.
Let's take it all the way back home. Where'd you grow up and kind of what were you into as a kid?
I grew up outside of Boston. As a kid, I was into sports. I like to learn. Actually, I really was interested in just learning about new things in the world. I like spending time with other people. I'm a really deeply extroverted person. I think I found that out about myself earlier on. And so if I was doing something new, maybe it was a little active and I was with a bunch of people, I was generally pretty happy.
In high school, do you have any idea of what you wanted to be when you grew up, whether it was a job or an industry or just?
Yeah. I did not want to be an entrepreneur. So my mom started a company and was an entrepreneur, single mom. And I watched her go through just what it's like to build a business and run a business. I was I'm never doing that. That seems so hard. Who would want to do that as their job?
What did she do? What would she do? What was the
She
business?
ran a loyalty marketing business. So, the loyalty cards you used to get at the supermarket, or you still get at the supermarket or at CVS or at, Target or whatever. So she would make those cards. And then her company would help to build all the loyalty programs. If Steve bought a Twinkie, then he should also get, a Hostess cupcake or something.
That's my kind of company.
I know, exactly. So that was her company. And I literally watched her have to build the company and see the highs and the lows. I was this just seems hard. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I should be a normal job, a stable job.
Yeah, you're I won't be an entrepreneur and I won't be into consumer facing retail.
Right.
And that's exactly what you were.
Yeah, exactly.
How'd that happen? Take me on that one.
I worked at Bain & Company, which is an amazing place, and then at a private equity fund called Charles Bank, which is an amazing place. And then I went to business school, and I was sitting around after class one day, and one of my friends said, "What do you think of the idea of selling glasses online?" And at the time, I had a $500 pair of glasses. My prescription had changed multiple times, but I hadn't changed my glasses because I was a student, and it was really expensive. And I was I would love a pair of new glasses that I really liked, that were affordable, from a brand that I believed in. And one of my other friends, had worked in the eyewear industry and said, we could make those, it's possible. And I couldn't sleep that night. I emailed those guys I was talking to at 1 a.m. and said, we should do this. And that became Warby Parker.
Early on, you were at Warby Parker, but then you left, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I didn't really have time to be introspective, to think about what it was all happening so fast. I always was going to go back and work in investing. And so I did that after school, but I stayed really closely involved at Warby Parker. I'm still on the board at Warby Parker. And early on, after I graduated, I spent a lot of time at Warby Parker on nights and weekends. And I love my co-founders, and I was trying to do as much as I could to support them. And I think that experience, working in investing and doing entrepreneurship, I think finally convinced me that actually what I really did want to do was go start a company and do something that I thought had a ton of meaning in the world. One of my close friends, whose name's Andy, had a really bad experience in a drugstore one day buying razor blades. He was overcharged for the blades and the brands didn't connect with him. And he called me and he said, "Could you take what you learned at Warby Parker and do it better here?" And I sat back in my chair and I was yep, we could. And then off we went to go build Harry's, which has been an amazing journey.
Looking back in everything you've done at Harry's and Warby and you name it, what advice would you, what are your top tips if someone is saying, I want to quit my investment job or quit my corporate job or quit college or just finish college and be an entrepreneur? What would, or be a leader or a CEO? What have you learned?
You got to go all in. This is not a halftime, maybe I'll try it type of thing. When you jump in with both feet and go. And I think it's okay to actually take some time and think about, am I ready to jump in? And then do it at a time when you are just so obsessed about the idea that it becomes all consuming. I think I was probably like one of the most annoying people on the planet to talk to at the beginning of Harry's and Warby Parker, because all I was asking people was like, oh, you've got glasses. What kind of glasses do you have? Like, let me talk to me about them. When did you get them? How did you think about you? Like, or in Harry's, I was like, oh, like, you shave? Like, oh, you know, Steve, you shaved today. Like, what products did you use? Tell me about them. I want to learn everything I can about this. But like, I was so obsessed with the companies and those ideas that that's like all I wanted to think about or talk about. I would like leave social events and go work on like business plans. Like, it was like that all consumed. I couldn't sleep at night. And so I think if that's the case and like you feel that obsessed and excited about it, then like it's gonna lead to you figuring out how to creatively problem solve across the 1,000 sets of problems that exist to find the right spot for your business.